And welcome to today's episode of The At Show. A little bit ahead of schedule today. I just want to talk today a little bit about the scheme that's in existence for laptops for families. By the way, it isn't the 116th episode of this, so I'm just going to just edit that and make sure that it actually comes across as 16. So sorry about that. Here we go. So I'll show that across the bottom of the screen again. So what we're talking about today is a very short one. It's just about laptops for families, particularly as parents are fully engaged in having to be teachers in their own home. It's often difficult to find information or even equipment to cope with all the children's needs. So the plea is that if you have kit out there that you're not using and it could have a second life with somebody in a family, then please do consider donating it. There's so many charities out there who will help you locally to do that, wherever you are. And I strongly advise that you consider that. They will refurbish and make the laptops available, and you could be helping children to not lose educational gain. And it's usually the poorest and those who can't afford maybe out of work due to coronavirus and other things that are stopping them from accessing their schoolwork. So it's just a plea. And the second thing I just wanted to talk about is perhaps, I'll just mention this as well while we're on about families. There is a device called the Facebook portal, which has been devised as a video conferencing tool. And it was just an idea I had that actually it might be great for teachers to connect with students through, particularly those who can't afford to have multiple devices in the home. At least they might have a large screen television, and that might actually encourage more engagement that way. I know that Facebook Portal are looking into attaching Zoom and other apps to their system at the moment. That's not possible, but it's in the pipeline to do. And if that occurs, then there could be a good option for schools to be able to allow that to take place in their setting. So just mention it. Look out for Facebook Portal and what it can do to help schools with this option of adding in the Zoom app. So that's an accessibility tool that could really help. And maybe groups of children can take part in a lesson in that way. I have been doing a lesson recently with one of my nephews, and certainly it's great to have people involved in their education. And if you're an ex-teacher and you, like myself, you might want to engage in some small amounts of work with children, as it's very demanding and the energy might not be there like it used to be. But certainly I'm enthusiastic to use this media to reach out to lots of children in that way. On my website, I did an article on remote learning not so long ago. And, schools are getting in the position where they're having to rely on reaching out in this way to all their students at the moment, but also with blended possibilities when they return back to school again. Now, this is good news for those students who have illnesses which stop them from attending school. And this also could be a little shout out for one little device that I found very useful, AV1, or rather it's a potential to connect somebody to their classroom. AV1 robot will enable a child to connect with video to their classroom, and it reacts to their movements and has that facility of following the talk, which is exactly what the portal can do too. It follows people around the room, so whoever's talking, it will focus on. This is surprisingly useful feature of these new video conferencing type devices. So moving on, a few weeks ago I mentioned the Google Nest and the problem that there was in the UK only, that we were cut off from using landline and mobile calls. Well, I'm pleased to report that Google has told us that we can actually have calls made from their Google Nest Mini. At the moment, that facility is taken away, but it's in their plans to reintroduce it back in again. No explanation as to why they stopped that, but it's incredibly useful and powerful for blind people to be able to make a call, or even the partially sighted, by just saying a few simple commands on their device to enable that to happen. And to take it away seemed a very backward step. And their answer was to introduce Google Duo. Well, we've done sessions in other of my programs on Google Duo, great as it is. The other person has to agree to your connection. Now, this may not be useful in certain circumstances where you're trying to contact a company or a skilled worker that you want to get in contact with if they've not given that permission. So it's not quite as flexible as searching Google and then saying call that number, which is what this Nest did used to do. So if anybody has any insight as to why they did it, please let us know, because Google are very quiet about it. And it does show the power of these global networks to actually influence our lives. I know we are very grateful for Zoom and what it's done to enable people to connect, particularly those that are often left out of society, such as the sick and those with learning disabilities and mental health issues. Now we have this facility of being able to talk face to face at a distance, and we're making the most of it. So I just wanted to mention those things on today's call. Now I'm going to stop now because I have a meeting later this afternoon online, and I want to go for a bike ride and get my daily exercise. So do take care, everybody. Tune in to this channel, The At Show, and for next week's episode. And also do look at my website. I'll put the details down on here. And do, by all means, check out my address and the media tab, which contains our podcasts and other factors, other outlets for information. We'll try and keep you informed as time goes by on all of these things. Goodbye for now, and see you next week.